I've used a prosthetic leg since I was 9 years old. Bone cancer took my real leg, and by the time I reached high school, explaining my situation to new teachers had become normal for me. I always carried medical papers, had a 504 plan, and usually things went smoothly. Most teachers were kind and understanding. Mrs. Henderson was not. She was a long-term substitute for AP biology, and from the very beginning, she acted like she didn't believe students with disabilities. She often made comments about kids faking things for attention and would stare directly at me whenever I used the elevator or took extra time moving between classes. I tried to show her my medical documents. She barely looked at them and said paperwork was easy to fake. The situation exploded during a lab exam. I was working quietly at my station when she walked over and leaned in close. She whispered that she'd dealt with attention seekers before and that my act wasn't convincing her. I calmly explained again that my leg was a real prosthetic and even offered to show her how it was attached. She smiled and said loudly, "Then prove it." Before I could react, she grabbed my prosthetic leg and pulled. The pain was instant and unbearable. The socket twisted against my leg and I screamed as I fell backward, knocking over lab equipment. She kept pulling, clearly expecting it to come off like a costume prop. Students started shouting at her to stop. I was crying and begging her, but she accused me of exaggerating. My friend Jake started recording, realizing this wasn't normal. She kept yanking harder, damaging the locking mechanism and hurting me badly. That's when the principal walked in for a surprise classroom observation. He froze. He saw a teacher physically trying to rip a prosthetic leg off a student. When he demanded to know what was happening, Mrs. Henderson confidently said she was exposing a fake and that a real prosthetic would come off easily. The principal's face changed immediately when he understood what she'd done. Jake showed him the video. It clearly showed her grabbing my leg, me screaming in pain, and her refusing to stop. She was removed from the classroom that same hour and fired before the end of the day. The school district launched an investigation, and my parents filed both criminal charges and a civil lawsuit. Mrs. Henderson permanently lost her teaching license and was ordered to pay damages. Some people refuse to believe disabilities they can't understand, even when the proof is literally attached to you.